listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me?
This is Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. Right now, let's listen to the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association Minute. The MHA Minute is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need an exterminator, you need somebody reliable and effective, and that is Greg Keener at Pest Control Services. Call him at 952-894-9748. Pest Control Services is a proud member of Angie's List and a member of the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association. That's Pest Control Services, 952-894-9748, and tell Greg that Gene and Tony sent you.
If you're renting out a property for the first time, there's a lot you need to know so that you can do it successfully and, frankly, keep yourself out of trouble. Luckily, there's a statewide resource with all the tools you need to run your new business successfully. In fact, the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association regularly holds a seminar called Accidental Landlord, specifically designed for people who are renting out a property for the first time. They also have residential leases, security deposit agreements, a lead disclosure, and lots of other forms. They even have brochures on the principles of successful property management and the eviction process that you can download for free. So if you want to know more about the Accidental Landlord Seminar or other classes about owning, managing, or maintaining anything from a single unit to a growing apartment portfolio, visit the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association's website, mmha.com. That's two M's, mmha.com.
Gene, I got an email from one of our listeners last Friday.
Yeah.
Can I ask you the question that she
ahead.
poses here? She says, I've enjoyed listening to you and Gene for a couple of years, when I can. I have a question I hope you can answer on the air. I'm a member of our HOA board. We had a young woman come to the annual meeting who is not an owner but is living in her mom's unit. The mom moved out about 2 years ago, and the unit's currently for sale. We also had a gentleman attend who recently moved in with his girlfriend. He's not the owner. The girlfriend is. Both of these people spoke at the meeting more than the homeowners who were present. The young woman has some issues with the neighbor next to her. The gentleman who's living with his girlfriend volunteered to be on the board. Here's her question. Can we as a board say that the board meetings and annual meetings are for homeowners to speak only, that others may attend, but homeowner input should just be from the homeowners? And then she goes on to ask, and then could we allow non-homeowners to submit a written request to the board to address an issue? What do you think about that, Gene?
Well, there's something that jumped out at me when you were going through her question here, and that is this. She makes a distinction that there were people who were not owners who were talking, and she said they were talking more than the homeowners who were present. I think there may be another issue here, and that is usually people at a meeting, first and foremost, if everybody gets a chance to speak, and those are the people that walk away from the meeting and say, boy, that was a great meeting. It's interesting. When you say a board meeting was long, was monotonous, and was just boring, that usually means I didn't get to speak at all, and someone else just went on.
Monopolized,
the time.
Yeah.
And so there could be another issue here, and that is a board that doesn't know how to move things along in allowing everybody the opportunity in a homeowners forum to be able to have equal time in sharing concerns and being before the board. If that's an issue, it's really not the issue of whether it's an owner or non-owner.
No, then it's more about running a meeting. It's about using an agenda. And we teach lots of classes and have webinars on that topic, don't we?
Exactly. But concerning the idea of a non-owner being able to be present and being able to speak, the answer is yes, they can.
Okay.
There are a couple things that come to mind here.
There's certain circumstances, though, or situations.
First of all, there is what is called the proxy. If you're talking about an annual homeowners meeting, the state statute states and makes this clear too, the idea of with a board and with a meeting of members like that. A proxy is just permission of a member of that organization giving it to someone else to talk and vote in their stead.
Okay.
And so that person does not need to be a member of the association.
If you hold somebody's proxy.
The only time that would not be the case is there are sometimes when the governing documents will specifically state that the meeting is only for members of the association and no one else.
Okay.
And so if that's the case, the state statute recognizes that and begins by saying, unless otherwise stated in the governing documents.
We should probably start there.
Yeah.
The very first step this board member should take is to review the governing documents
Yes.
and see what the requirements are there, because you're right. A lot of the state statute defers to the governing documents. The governing documents often say something about proxies as well and what they can be used for. Sometimes they can only be used to create the quorum for the meeting, and they cannot be used to vote. So you definitely have to look at your governing documents.
Yes, but I think it's safe to say that there's a good number of associations where proxies can be given to someone who's not a member, and so that's not an unusual situation at all. That does take place. I mean, you've been a member of gone to an annual homeowners meeting where you were representing the owner or landlord in a particular building.
That's right.
And they wanted you there voting and perhaps speaking and directing to the board, correct?
That's right. And that's another situation in which a non-owner may be able to act as an owner if you're hired as the managing agent for that owner, correct? You have you're a contracted agent.
Yes, well, it'd probably be even more specific, even more than just having the contract as being the managing agent, but you would also have another instrument that would be called power of attorney.
Okay.
Also known as attorney of fact. In fact, and that is something that we think of typically in representing owners of buildings and properties that we manage, because they can't be at small claims court. They can't be at housing court. They can't be at a homeowners association meeting. So they will that document will give us shows that we have the authority to speak on their behalf.
Okay.
One thing that a homeowner can do, though, they don't need the situation necessarily, though, of a management company. It doesn't have to be that relationship. The idea of a boyfriend and girlfriend, people that aren't married, wanting to give that kind of authority, yes, the same power of attorney, that attorney, in fact, document can be something that a owner can give to their boyfriend or girlfriend, that they could give to a friend who lives in the unit, and
or give to their daughter.
Yes, and they can file that at the county like we do, which makes it a document that says to all that we are recognizing that this person has the ability to act in my stead. And I've seen that happen. I've seen people who've gone to that length just so that their girlfriend or boyfriend could speak.
Sure, that's right, because they know that they probably will not be able to attend the meetings. It's a good idea, don't you think, Gene, to have someone go in your place if you know you're not going to be able to attend the meeting, because at least then your opinion will be heard, correct?
Yes, and ultimately, I think what the association wants is they do want more participation and not less. And there's nothing wrong with the idea of getting that information, even if it's not directly from the owner.
Yeah.
But like we said before, a person really needs to look at their governing documents.
Yeah, because also she mentioned in here that the gentleman who offered to serve on the board, their documents do say that you have to be an owner to serve on the board. So the rules for serving on the board may be different
than being able to be at the annual meeting.
Than being able to attend and vote at the annual meeting. That's right.
Yeah. There's one other relationship we haven't talked about. We've talked about the proxy. We've talked about the fiduciary relationship that a managing agent has with the power of attorney, or even without a management company. The other is what's called a life estate.
Okay. I vaguely remember that term from real estate
Yep.
school.
And in a life state, and we had this happen, a number of times in communities that we manage. In a condominium association, the owner of the property was a mother, an elderly mother who lived there.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to make sure that property went on to her son
Okay.
as the sole survivor without it going through a state probate court and all of that and special taxing. So she gave what was called the life estate. She what it does is it allows him to be the owner, but she retains the rights of the ownership, which is to live there.
That's right.
And to enjoy and use the property until she passes away, and then everything belongs to him. And we've had people say, well, if it's a life estate, she gave the property to
her son,
so she can't vote. And the idea is, no, you still can, because
that's right.
It just creates a relationship of co-ownership, and just like a husband and wife both owning it, only one gets to vote at the meeting.
Sure.
And so, as long as that is established, it should be just fine. Well, hey, we need to take a break. Don't go away. We've got a whole nother hour of Where You Live. We'll see you after these messages.
Sweet